Science feed.
Hello there and welcome to Maciac episode 184. My name is Bruce. I'm here with Steve. I'm here with Dana. I'm here with Mike, and we are sort of here with Jay. So, hello, Jay.
Jay's muted.
Well, you just have to trust us. He is here in the background. He's going to be giving us advice, and he'll probably complain a lot during the show as well. But you probably just won't hear from him. Anywho, apologies for the false start there. We had a minor technical issue, and unfortunately, once you create a stream, if you start it and then stop it, you can't start it again. So we have to create a new one. But everyone, well, certainly all of the important people seem to find their way to this new one. So welcome to you all. Thank you very much.
The essential people.
Yes.
I guess first of all, I will say, guys, what you been up to? I'm going to go in a clockwise direction, starting with you, Steve. How you been? What you been up to?
Tired and tired.
That's just life, isn't it?
Steve made a new friend.
I made the new friends. He's a fancy YouTuber. He does the things. Yeah.
Would we have heard of him?
Maybe. He's a huge fan. So
Duke Miami.
Duke. Sure, let's go with that. I'll share my screen for a brief sec, so we'll get this out of the way. There we go. No, wrong. I selected the real one. There we go. Boop. So, Luke Miami. Wow, now you have me thinking, Dana. Luke Miami had Macintosh Portable, and it was very cranky, and so he stopped by my basement a few weeks ago. And spoiler alert, I fixed the damn thing. So, yay! Which was no small feat. I mean, how long is this video? 22 minutes? I spent 2 days nonstop working on that thing to get it to work.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but that was mainly removing one component from the board.
One stupid ceramic component that I was telling Sean in the chat, Action Retro here. I said, when I'm repairing yours, I'm getting some clippers, and I'm just going to rip all the caps off and everything off, and you'll just do it that way. Because I am not removing. That was the first time I've ever removed one of those hybrid boards.
Yeah.
Not doing that again that way.
Thank you for doing that, because watching you do it definitely made me feel that when I have to do one, I'm going to do it a completely different way.
Yeah, because my thought process was you have the plastic header for the keyboard, you have the 3 caps there, and then you have the reset and interrupt switches, and I've removed those switches before. They're not fun to do. Even though they look stupid simple, they're not fun to do. So I was like, oh, this won't be bad. I'll just redo this. And I used up almost all of the solder wick I had on this stupid thing. So, but it goes into the invoice, so it's fine. But anyway, that was a fun little video. I am working on some PowerBooks of his. I hope to have that video out today, but that didn't happen. So hopefully you'll see that soon.
Well, I had just finished watching that video this morning. I watched it just a little bit before we went to air, and it is a bit of fun. I guess what I enjoyed watching the most is probably how excited Duke Miami got, because he is clearly getting into this vintage thing now. He's very new to it, and you see that also in the video that he released previously, where he got a great big stack of compact Macs. Now, we won't sit here criticizing all of the things he got wrong. Actually, we will. Let's sit here and criticize all the things that he got wrong in that video. No,
that was the previous stream. You missed it.
But my point is that when you watch him, he has that kind of childlike enthusiasm of someone just getting into something, and I guess that's kind of fun to watch. So.
I was making the Bruce face. We lost Bruce. I think he was going to say childlike enthusiasm.
Have I gone?
Bruce is right there.
Well, he's not moving. Now he's back and moving. Can you hear us, Bruce?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You said childlike enthusiasm, and then you stopped.
Oh, okay. Childlike. It's fun to watch his childlike enthusiasm because he's just new to it. So
yeah,
that's it.
We didn't break his soul yet of all the terrible things that go wrong with.
Oh, that'll come. Yeah, that'll come.
I tried to level with them. I said, look, if you're getting into this, there's a few books you got to read. There's a few 8-hour streams you have to watch, So.
Yeah.
But no, it was fun fixing up the portable. I have some PowerBooks to fix up, and he graciously gave me some parts so I could rebuild some of the PowerBooks that I couldn't get working. So hopefully I'll have a PowerBook 100 working and a PowerBook 180C working, if all goes well. But we'll see about that.
Excellent.
Color.
What about you, Dana? Have you done anything interesting? asked
I
expecting the
started
answer
Mandalorian
no.
season 3.
That's a big lift.
It's got the chick from what's that show in it, doesn't it? The one with was it Battlestar Galactica? Doesn't it?
Yes.
Does it?
Yeah, she's actually in it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and she voiced the character that she's playing now in live action. She voiced that character in the animated series, apparently.
Well,
So
there
that's
you go.
kinda cool.
It's come full circle.
Mm.
Wow. Okay. Mike, have you done anything interesting lately? I see that you've changed your tag name down there, Mike's Mess. Is this a thing?
Well, if you would have been around on Saturday, you'd know. Apparently, you were too good to join my stream, so screw you.
When was that?
Saturday.
You often stream when I'm asleep.
Well, why is this my problem? YouTube has this neat little feature called replay.
Yeah, there is a problem that I have regularly with not just yours but Steve's stream as well, and that is that when you guys stream, if I go to watch it soon afterwards, it doesn't play properly. It sits there with the little spinning thing, and I have to wait like 24 hours or something before I can watch it properly. And then 24 hours goes by,
and then you just don't care.
Yeah, it's gone. Flash in the pan. See you later.
To be honest, I don't go back through and watch your crap. So
yeah, I don't expect anyone to.
I expect you to watch mine.
I don't even watch my own crap.
So we knew it was on the way. We knew you were planning a change of name because obviously you're not working on exclusively Macs, and this is the name that's been decided on, Mike's Mess.
Yes,
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too.
And
now all you need is an award-winning logo.
We have to think of
my
weird.
award-winning logo artist and I need to get together, but she's been a little preoccupied lately.
Okay.
And I can't rely on anybody else
by making money.
Because I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for logos for my other channel that somebody promised me a year and a half ago they were going to do. So I kind of gave up with that one.
Love you too, buddy.
I did get a new chair.
I noticed.
Yeah.
So how long are we betting until there are scratch marks all over this one? I say about 2 months.
Probably already are.
There's already claw marks on it. She just hasn't ripped any of the leather off yet.
Okay, that's all right. I think the ripping will happen within a few weeks.
Yeah, she'll redecorate this in no time. I'm sure.
Redecorate.
So in the meantime, I put the redecorated chair over at my workbench because I refuse to get rid of that chair because unlike your normal chairs and this chair here, that one has a back massager in it.
Ooh.
That's
a sleeping chair.
It's going to be worth something.
The reason I've kept it, even though it's hideous looking, is because it is actually quite comfortable.
That's why you fall asleep all the time.
Yeah. This one here, I tell you what, this one here is nice. It's well padded, and it's comfortable. It's not nearly as comfortable as that beat up old thing that I bought for $20 at the thrift store. I mean, this one didn't cost me anything. This one was a gift from one of my employees, but still,
Nice. Very
I
good.
got a new Mac. I got a new chair.
Yes, you've got the studio now, haven't you?
I do. I'm actually better than you for once.
Yeah. Well, let's Geekbench. Hey, show us your Geekbench, and I'll show you mine.
Drag race, baby. Yeah. Bruce Bros.
Well, let me tell you.
He's only freezing for you, dude. He's fine on my screen.
Oh, what the hell?
Let me tell you something.
Now Mike froze on my side.
Steve's having all kinds of problems.
Talking to Steve the other day, and I was working with a flash drive, a little thumb drive, and I kept reaching under my desk.
Yes.
Looking for my USB port that doesn't exist anymore.
Nah.
And to be perfectly honest with you, this computer does not do anything more than my Mac Pro did. But now I have not really put it through its real heavy paces yet either. I really need to get Final Cut Pro going on it and try that. But,
yeah, I can definitely tell you that Final Cut Pro is one of those apps that when you're running on Apple Silicon, you really become aware of it. You really become aware that it has been designed for these chips because it flies. So this is the 4 people on screen at the moment are the Apple Silicon Mac-yackers. How about that?
Well, isn't Jay have one now too?
Yeah, Dana got one a few weeks ago.
I got one like December.
Or months ago at this point, yeah.
Mm.
I know it's not his, but I know that he was supposed to be getting one from his job.
No, Jay ended up getting Intel. No.
Yeah, no.
Oh, no.
Well, I know he got a MacBook Air.
No.
His most detested possession.
He rejected it.
It's a Pro, but it's a 2017 Pro MacBook Pro.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
with a butterfly keyboard. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what he was talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for keeping up, Mike.
So, coming around now to me,
I don't have time.
just to keep things rocking and rolling. I have recently released a review video of an ultrasonic cleaner, so there's that if you want to check it out. And I have also recently upgraded my Macintosh SE30 to display grayscale on the built-in display. So I'm going to do a video of that, but I suspect Sean
wondrous technology.
He will come out with one sooner than I did, and this is through the magical work of Bol. People will probably know Bol from the work that he's done with the Carrera 040 accelerator and stuff for the SE30 and the little riser board and all sorts of things that he has done for the SE30. And seriously, Bol has made some amazing things. And as I say, he recently sort of replicated the what was it called, the what was that thing called, Steve? Do you remember the name of the grayscale thing for the SE30?
Was the Exceed Micro?
Yeah, Micron Exceed. That's the one.
Yeah.
Now, it's not actually using the Micron Exceed technology. He did find an accelerator card that is easier. A display card that is easier to replicate with what's available today. Some of the other ones that are out there, they're very hard to find some of the parts. So he found a display card which which is easy for him to replicate, and then he built all of the rest of the stuff to get the grayscale happening. There we go. Format clone. There it is. So, because I imagine Sean's probably doing all the proper research because he's a proper YouTuber, not like me, and so he's probably going to have this video ready very soon. I am still going to make a video, but I decided it was unfair for me to ask him to not make one while he waits for me when I've produced 3 videos that weren't the video that I said in that time. So, anyhow. Moving right along. So we've got some topics here, but at the end of the day, some of these, they've been sitting in here for such a long time. I'm not sure how relevant they are anymore. For instance, the rumors thing, this was something that I read somewhere, basically saying that they think that if Apple does produce a Mac Pro, eventually, an Apple Silicon Mac Pro, it could spell the end of the Mac Studio, because the Mac Studio is a kind of a stopgap of like a Pro machine until they get a Pro machine. And once a Pro machine is out, they'll have the Mini, they'll have the Pro, and they'll have this kind of gap in the middle where the Studio won't really have a place anymore. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think that's possible?
I think it could be possible because they could do what they did with the iMac Pro and just like kill it. But I think if they come out with the Mac Pro, I think that price point is going to be significantly higher than the Studio. So I don't think it would necessarily hurt them. I mean, they might lose some sales from the Mac Pro of people who might be tempted to go that high, but they could just get a higher spec Studio. But because I think that there has always been that gap between a Mac Mini and a Mac Pro. You know, you have the very low end, and then you have the super duper Threadripper do everything Mac Pro. I don't mind there being a middle one. I guess it has to do with the sales and how they feel about it, but we'll see.
I guess when you look at how fast they have made the latest Mini, though, with the Mac, with the Mac Mini, the 2023 Mac Mini, some of the speeds that they're getting from that, I guess you kind of have to wonder whether there is a big enough gap between the Mini and the Studio to warrant the separate machine. I guess that's the question. Again, we're just talking rumors here. It might all just be balls. So,
yeah. I think if they're doing the Mac Pro, there'll be some expansion to it. They'll figure out some PCI or whatever, and that's what you'll be paying the biggest bucks for, because the Mac Pro has always had expansion. That's what the pros need. No matter how fast your USB or FireWire or Thunderbolt is or whatever, they're going to want expansion cards. And I think that'll be the differentiator.
Yep, for sure. Now we do have a couple of topics here, but did we want to just roll straight into this this article that I was referring to? Because I feel like some of these, in particular with Jay being out of action today, there are a couple here that I think he would probably like to have a say in. What we'll do is we'll just lead into what we're going to be considering our main topic tonight. We're going to just have a little bit of fun with this, and we're going to sort of invite everyone watching to talk about this as well. Basically came down to an article that popped up into my Facebook feed. I'm now going to drop that link for that into the chart. And there it goes. It's finding its way out there. So this is an article, and I'm just going to go share my screen and bring it up here, from Digital Trends, and it is called "The Biggest Apple Design Fails and Screw-Ups of All Time." And we've touched on this in other episodes in the past, to some extent. And I just thought it would be a fun thing for us to go over some of these and just have our say on them, and then potentially fill in some gaps of things that we think they might have actually left out, because we can probably go back a little bit further in history than this article will go. So, okay, so we'll get up and running here, and we will start off with one of our favorites, one of the world's favorites, and that is the old butterfly keyboard. Now, just from a personal thing, I have only just recently used a butterfly keyboard for the first time when I acquired a 2016 MacBook Pro. And I certainly have my opinion on it, but I'm just wondering, anyone else here used a butterfly and what their thoughts on it are? Anyone?
I haven't used one enough to have a problem. I used one sparingly at work, like someone else's machine that had to be lended to me for a while. And it felt weird to type on, and it was a bit noisier, but that particular model did not have the some of the problems. So.
Just looking at that picture makes me bleh.
Well,
no travel on those keys at all.
Yeah. So there are the obvious problems with it are that there's very little travel on it, and that's very noticeable when you're using them. The other is that when you're typing on them, it is loud. I mean, it is really loud. It's like, until you do it, oh God, we can do without the political advertising here. Sorry.
Hit the X, Bruce.
It's not letting me do anything. Why is that?
Refresh it, and we'll get an ad from the.
There we go. Okay, I should just go. I'll just go in the reader mode. Where's that?
You should install AdBlock Plus.
I should. But the fact is, I actually quite like seeing ads from time to time. So anyhow, so
Bruce is strange.
So the travel is one thing, and of course this all comes down to the desire for things being as thin as possible, which I think Apple have probably taken a little further than they needed to. But another thing that I did notice the other day, I had a sandwich at the computer. I had a sandwich, which you do sometimes, and a crumb fell into the side of the space bar, and the space bar stopped working. So. What I would suggest is, if you do have a butterfly keyboard, keep like a needle or something on hand for you to just go and scrape little bits out of the side of the keys, because they are literally so close up against the holes that it only takes the tiniest little bit of something to stop those keys from traveling or getting stuck down. So and look, the fact that they have stopped making them and have returned back to the scissor style keys is an indication that this is an absolute and total design fail.
Well, it was the quiet admission that that kind of sucked.
Anytime you're second guessing yourself, or you're feeling down about a decision you made or something like that, just think that Apple poured probably millions of dollars of R&D into this butterfly keyboard thing, and they had to backtrack on it.
Yeah.
And Look, they probably spent a lot of time congratulating themselves. I'm imagining a situation like Phil Schiller just calling out, "Can't innovate my ass." I'm just sort of imagining that going on with these keyboards. They're going like, "We have just come up with an absolutely
They never
magical."
should have deviated from this design.
As much as I would agree with you from a usability perspective, they're a lovely keyboard to use on those. I have found them having lots of those models. I've had them found to be a little bit prone to damage over time. So, but lovely to use those ones for sure.
Especially if you type like Jay.
Okay, so that's the old butterfly keyboard. Let's see if I can find out where my mouse has gone. There it is. Magic Mouse 2. Now, far out. This is this is a real winner. This one. I challenge someone to defend the charging situation with this.
You're not supposed to use it while it's charging.
Yeah, but other mice you
charge it
can.
overnight.
It's still awkward.
Yeah, the dumbest freaking thing. They could have just put it in the top and just given it a tail for frick's sakes.
Well, this is a Logitech rechargeable mouse. When this runs flat, you can just plug it into the end here, and while it's charging, it becomes a corded mouse. Corded mouse while charging, cordless mouse the rest of the time.
I just don't use cordless
This is a
mice.
Logitech wireless mouse. When it goes bad, I just put 2 AA batteries in it. It lasts for like a year. We don't necessarily have to have rechargeable mice.
This is a vertical mouse that has
I
a
actually
cable.
prefer this style over a rechargeable mouse because then I don't have to worry about tethering it to anything. When the batteries go flat, I put 2 new batteries in, and the batteries last forever.
Well, I was the same. I was always using battery ones, and then this one converted me. I really like this mouse. So, so obviously the main thing is we know for a fact that Apple have never really done mice particularly well. What is, I guess, innovative on this one is the fact that it's almost like a trackpad on the top of the mouse with all the things you can do with gestures and all that, them things and
I do
junk.
like that part of it.
Yeah, and it's nice and sleek. It looks nice. It's got a nice weight and whatnot. But I consider the fact that you have to stop using it to recharge it to be.
Take that off there.
One of the
that is the most uncomfortable freaking mouse in the world to use. I have never used such an uncomfortable piece of crap in my life. I don't even know where mine is. And you know what? I'm not looking for it.
Well, here we go.
And there it is.
As we said, Apple have never really done mice well. We had to cover this one because Jay can't talk.
He can talk.
Okay.
Something tells me he might for this part.
Who here likes using a puck mouse?
I have to be like doing something on a vintage machine, and it has to be like just like a whole nostalgia trip with the keyboard and the mouse. Like it has to be that setup if I'm going to enjoy playing around with them. But that being said, when my dad got the G4 Tower with the big display and everything, that's the mouse that came with it. And it did not take long for us to get a third-party mouse just because there was not enough space on the keyboard tray. So the mouse would easily get turned upside down. And I would be downstairs, and you just hear, damn it. My dad had it like under and it was caught. And so yeah, it didn't. We had it maybe for a few months, and then we got like an optical mouse. But.
The puck mouse is like the Hawaiian pizza of tech. You either love it or you hate it.
When we got all the colorful Macs at the place that I worked at the time, this was whenever it was, 2000s, I guess. We had a few iMacs, we had a few blue and white G3s, eventually got G4s and stuff like that as well. And so we had a lot of these puck mice because the computers came with them. So that was what we were using. Now, what I ended up doing with them is those little colored bits on the side, the little plasticky bits that we've got around here, they're actually just clipped on. And I used to just remove them. And what that gave you was when you put your hand on the mouse, you could instantly feel what the orientation was because you could feel the dips on either side. And so you didn't have that situation where if it was with being perfectly rounded, you just go to if the last person who got up twisted the mouse, and you just go down there to put your hand on the mouse, and the mouse starts going all over the place because you're not holding it straight. And that was what I did as my temporary one. But of course, we've seen those things that were available that you can clip on to the bottom to make them a little bit more ergonomic. But what we will say about them was the mechanism was quite good. The resolution of the mouse was quite good in terms of the, sort of the actual operation of it. Nice and accurate mouse to use. Only one button, of course, but that was still at the time when Apple was all about one button.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still definitely do consider it something that, well, I mean, they essentially solved it with the second when they put a dip in the button, didn't they?
Yeah,
so
the
that you could just immediately,
The second revision had the little slice in the top of the button. So that's how you could tell if you have an older mouse model or the newer one.
Yep, for sure. So anyhow, I mean, that one, I think, we've as Dana said, it's a love it or hate it sort of situation. So yeah, alrighty. This is a controversial one: the touch bar. Anyone got anything to say about the touch bar?
I had a machine at work for like a week or two that had it, and I hated. That's where the escape key was. So I hated it because I do like a command, blah, blah, blah. And the escape key was there. I'm like, this is the escape key. And then like the volume and stuff, because a keyboard, you could feel where it is. You don't have to really look down if you used it enough. With that, I always found myself looking down and it just drove me nuts. So thankfully that was a loaner machine. I didn't have to hang on to it. I could understand in some applications how having a touch bar like that would actually be helpful if you had sliders or if you were doing stuff where you did not have a physical switch for it. All well and good. I think they still have it on one of their models. Fine. But at least they have the escape key back. So
yeah, I mean, if you're in Final Cut Pro or something and you're scrubbing, you can understand something like that being really good for, scrubbing footage and stuff like that. But
I discovered a trick in Final Cut Pro that I'm going to interrupt you and talk about real quick.
Please.
Because the one thing I liked about the Magic Mouse was the horizontal scrolling in the timeline. Did you know that you could do the horizontal scrolling with the vertical mouse wheel?
My mouse has horizontal scrolling as well, so I use that. So do you hold down a key or something while you're scrolling?
Hold down Shift. You hold down Shift. Ken of the Computer Clan told me this the other day. You hold down Shift, and then your scroll wheel goes horizontal. And I'm like, what? So,
I might start using that because the horizontal scrolling on my mouse sucks anyway. So,
yeah. So there you go. Sorry.
Wow. Okay. Look, my wife's laptop has the touch bar, and I find it, I don't know, I find it kind of dazzling to look at. When you're sort of, yeah, it is very gimmicky. It's a contrivance. When you're sort of when you're working in stuff and you switch applications and you see it change from one to the next and everything, and it's all in pretty colors and all that. I look at it and I go, oh, isn't that cool? But yeah, I think it is something that just never really met its potential. So
I think it's a good idea, but the whole idea that they replaced the function keys with it was not a good implementation.
Yeah. No, I would definitely agree with that. So, okay, so touch bar, a lot of love for the touch bar. the photo tells the story, doesn't it? And I mean, it really
pull your pants up.
I have one of these, the first generation pencil, and using it is a lot of fun. But charging it is terrifying because if you leave it plugged into the iPad sticking out like that, you're just horrified that it, like a cat's going to knock it off or something like that, or you're going to bump it, or you're going to forget it's there and break it. Not really thought through particularly well.
To be fair, there is a little adapter it comes with that does let you charge it via a normal Lightning cable. to be fair. However, if you're in a pinch or you have to pair the pencil, you have to plug it in this way. The first gen, you had to plug it in this way. So it is really silly, and that is the stupidest arrangement. Just like Bruce is saying, just begging for something to happen to it. And I'm sure there's so many people that it fell with it on, and that it's permanently jammed in there, or a part of it is.
And then, of course, if we wanted to add to it, they then made a second generation pencil, and there was all sorts of weirdness with that going on, with which devices were compatible with it and which ones weren't, and all that sort of stuff. And that I felt was a bit of a silly thing as well. So, second gen pencil is awesome. That's come straight from GT. So there will be nothing bad said about the second gen pencil today. All right, who wants to take this one?
Yeah, we lost Steve.
Steve, you take this one.
Really, that's interesting.
Well, the name says it all. Do we need to really say anything else?
Yeah, well,
Trash can.
I mean, look,
I like it. Expandability went out the window as far as internals. But if you're a fan of dongles,
loads of things hanging out in the back.
Like everyone's noodle, but I have a funny feeling that if we get an Apple Silicon based Mac Pro, we're looking at another trash can.
Maybe something along those lines.
But that's just my opinion. What do I know?
I will. The one thing I will say about the trash can Mac Pro is I do believe it's something that is collectible. I think that in the future it's going to be something that people are going to want to have in their collection because it's so iconic. As to whether they will still work because of all the GPU issues, that's something to be determined. But I confess I am a fan of this just from an aesthetic perspective. I love the look of it. I love the idea of having one, and I do intend to have one day when they come down in price, but then we're not there yet. They still are quite expensive over here. You're probably going to be spending close to $1,000 if you're going to be wanting to buy one of those. But of course, they had all those cooling issues and GPU issues and all sorts of stuff, and they didn't change them for ages. Forced a lot of people, the pros that were using them, forced them into having to have everything hanging out the back of it rather than being installed inside it like you would expect from a proper Pro Mac. So, it's something that's kind of nice looking, but not particularly practical.
However, we must actually give tribute to the trash can. Because if it weren't for the trash can, I don't think our Mac Pros would be as well supported today as they are.
That's a bloody good call. That is a very good call.
If they had continued making the Mac Pro in the same vein as the ones that we have, I don't think that there would be such a huge following behind them. I mean, there would be a following, obviously, but not like there is today.
Yeah,
and we have this machine to thank for it.
4-hour stream of me watch me fix a trash can. I don't know. Is there anything you can fix on them? I don't know. I've never touched one before. So, dear. Yeah. I mean,
anything worth fixing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I will look. I will get one day. So.
Other than the GPU problems, I really haven't heard of them having a whole lot of issues.
I think it's mainly the GPU problem.
Yeah,
is it all the GPUs or just a subset?
It's the D3. I think the D300, the low end one, it runs cool enough that it doesn't bake itself to death. But I think it's the 500s or 700s are the ones that tend to.
You shouldn't have told me that.
It's a bit toasty.
I'm on eBay and there is one fairly low priced for about $300 or best offer. And it has those cards in it. And I'm just curious, but again, if it's $300, that's $300 you could put towards a freaking M2 Mini.
Right.
So why bother?
Yeah, but then it's not a trash can.
If you're looking for a cheap alternative, maybe a Plex server or
Well, see, I
something
would,
to do some grunt video work, and while
yeah,
your machine is
if it was like $100, I'd get it just to try out as a replacement for my streaming system downstairs, just to see how big of a boost you get. But you know,
That's what I was actually going to do with one. I was going to buy one just for that purpose, Steve.
well, I'll make a low offer and we'll see what they say.
they get down around $250. I might think about getting one of these days.
There was a guy selling one locally here for $200, and I was seriously considering it, and then I'm like, why? Like, luckily Jay brought me to my senses, and he used many expletives in the text message, but he kind of brought me to my senses. I was like, yeah, okay. You do offer a good point there, Jay.
I mean, they're selling parts only models, which probably have issues, obviously, for $200, $250. So
see, that's a lot of money for something broken.
Yeah, they all have the problematic GPU. So
yeah,
it looks like
this
a
is an interesting
carrying
one.
case for a large brawl.
Yeah, it does. Or some buttocks.
buttocks warmer.
It's a
I didn't know Apple
sling.
was making smart bras.
I knew nothing about this one until I saw this, but
I've never heard of those either.
Yeah, so I mainly because like those AirPods Max are so far out of my price range, I'm never going to have them. But so essentially what they're saying here is that this case only holds the ear parts at the bottom, and the head part is sticking out the top, so you can carry it like a handbag or something if you want, but that it's not really providing a whole lot of protection to these headphones because that top section is completely and totally exposed. So I guess I can understand why people might have an issue with this, but as I say, I mean, I excuse me, I would never spend that much money on headphones, so
nope,
it's not really an issue.
I don't know how much they are.
I got my headphones out of the trash. They have duct tape on them. So if the audio was crummy in my videos, I can't hear it.
Excuse me. So
these were weird. These little battery things.
It is weird, isn't it? Because it doesn't really feel like something that Apple would design.
It's a tumor.
Yeah, it's just going to cough badly.
Yeah, I think the whole purpose behind this was people were using their phones more and they were draining, and Apple saw that other manufacturers were making cases with batteries, and they thought, "Me too. We can make these and get some extra monies." And I remember seeing, I think it was the guy from Snazzy Labs had problems with one, and it was like brand new, and he was recharging it, and it didn't do what it wanted to do, or maybe it was the MagSafe one. I don't know, but it was some iteration of this. He was super unhappy with it, and I mean, it's a rechargeable battery with a circuit board in it, so yeah, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to something like this. It just needs to either connect up from the MagSafe at the back or connect up through the bottom little port there and then be a cover at the same time. And I don't know, maybe it's got an incredibly long battery life, but when I look at that, I just look at something that just looks like it has zero design, zero aesthetic. Take something that looks nice and suddenly make it look awful.
So the nice thing about those cases was, unlike the aftermarket cases, is those actually had a lightning connector in them versus the aftermarket ones, which usually had micro USB. Because I have a couple of batteries, like Snap-on battery cases for the iPhone 6, and they're nice. They work great, but they all have micro USB ports. And I don't have anything in my house that charges on micro USB, so I always have to try to find a cable for them.
Okay.
But other than that, yeah, they're hideous looking.
Okay, so that's one there.
I'm calling.
All right, where you go, Steve?
I mean, come on. It's a cheap shot. It's a cheap shot because the internet wasn't really a thing yet. And this thing was, along with the Magic Pad, these were way ahead of their time of what they were trying to do. And if this came out in 95 or 96 instead of 93, I think it would have been a bigger hit. But you know, you had the smaller Palm Pilots from 3Com and all that stuff going on, and the Newton had some great concepts. We even got the scribble writing in iOS now from the iPad. You know, that originated with a Newton. It's a glorified notepad with some cool apps on it, and I know you still want one, Bruce, so it's cool enough.
Yes. Well, again, that's from a nostalgic perspective, but I mean, I definitely agree that I think the Newton came out at the wrong time. It came out at a time when perhaps the technology wasn't quite there yet. Maybe just needed a little bit more refinement. And then also, as you say, you know, I guess part of the way these sorts of things work in our day-to-day life these days is having them all easily synchronized together. You know, you put stuff in your phone, it's on your computer, and vice versa. And I started using one of these. The company that I worked for, a guy had bought the newer message pad, so he gave me his old one just on loan while I was working for him. And I was trying to find things to use it for. That was the kind of funny stuff. To me, it didn't really have that killer app on it that makes you buy the device because of the thing that's on it. And we know the killer app of the iPhone. When the iPhone came out, the reason why people really wanted to buy it, there was a whole bunch of fantastic features. But for me, the main selling point of an iPhone when it came out was that you could browse the web properly. The phones that came before it, if you were browsing the web, it was the weirdest experience you've ever had in your life. But an iPhone, you could actually be on the web and be properly browsing pages, easily zooming in and out, all that sort of stuff. Whereas this, I didn't feel like it had a killer app. And so I would sit there and I'd go, this thing is so cool. What am I going to do with it?
Well, it also predated wireless technology and the internet by, 3 or 4 years. So
it was about 5 years too early for it.
Yeah. Had those technologies been around?
And by the time it finally matured, it was killed.
Yeah. It had infrared, did it not? Is that correct?
Yeah, it has infrared, has a serial port, and the last model, the 2100, the OS was pretty darn well refined, and they were about to have new plans of a whole line of them because they just got the licensing done. That's why the latest model at the top says Newton Technologies, and the Apple logo is actually on a little cutout in a circle because they were planning to have Sharp and Philips and all these other companies and Siemens and all these other companies that were already doing stuff like that for the Newton just swap out the logo, put a different one there. And they were going to license
Jobs
them
came
out.
back and said, nay.
Yeah, so I mean, they were going to make another eMate because that was actually popular, and Scully says in numerous interviews, including the Love Notes to Newton film, that the Newton was profitable. It was actually becoming profitable as one of the stronger things at Apple of the time. But when Jobs came back, he cut it for dislike of Scully or just he didn't find it as elegant as everyone else did, and the rest is history, unfortunately. But yeah. It's still a neat thing. I like it.
Yeah. I mean, again, for me, it has definite gimmickry appeal. I mean, I do like it as a gimmick and a gadget, that sort of thing. And same with the eMate. I mean, the eMate, which of course it is a contrivance that took this operating system and turned it into something more like a little laptop. I had exactly the same issue with that. I had a couple of them and I used to every now and again charge it up and go, oh, this thing is so cool. Then I'd open up and I'd be like, what am I going to do with this thing? I just sort of felt like I was trying to come up with jobs for it rather than it actually being there ready to take on a job. But yeah, that's probably just me. So, but yeah, look, I can understand why it's here on this list for sure, but at the same time, I do have an incredible soft spot for the Newton. I definitely would like to own one day. Now, that is actually the list. So what we want to do now is see if we can come up with some ourselves about some of Apple's. I'll just leave it here on the puck mouse.
Apple design keyboard.
Totally arbitrary.
No, the adjustable one rather. The Apple adjustable keyboard.
Now, which one was that one? Is that
That's
the one
where it splits apart?
Splits
and then you
apart?
have the keyboard. Yeah, you could. I'll bring up an image of it.
I love that keyboard.
Even though the keys are stupid stiff and it's stupid. It's stupid.
I felt like with that particular keyboard, it was creating a solution to a problem that didn't exist. And there are a lot of products that do that, and I'm in the same. I sort of feel like I look at that and I sort of think, Oh, okay, yeah.
There
It
it
allows
is.
you to. I have never been in a situation where I've sat in front of a keyboard and thought, "Oh, wow, I wish I could do that." You know, I'm typing like this. I want to type like that.
Did you ever use one?
No.
I've
Yeah.
only used one.
Try it.
I've only used one like after the fact because maybe the experience isn't as good because it's very creaky. It's like there's something with it where the keyboard doesn't spread apart smoothly and the keys are a bit bleh and mushy and just like I don't know. It's a thing. I have one in the box. I'm probably never going to take out of the damn box, but it's neat. But I think it was just like this. Hey, it's the '90s. Ergonomics are a thing. We can make our own keyboard.
Yeah.
Well, there was another keyboard that Apple made that had a little slidey thing at the back, which made a little leg stick up and down on the back of those. And I always found that mechanism very clunky.
Yeah.
That was the extended keyboard too.
Nice keyboard. I mean, they were a nice keyboard. I had no issue with using the keyboard in that regard.
They would eventually get really stiff and hard to operate. Like you couldn't.
Yeah.
It's either you'd be pushing it and it would either go like one click or all of the clicks.
If I just keep glancing over here, it's because I'm just setting up to snipe an auction. Over here.
You got to tell us how long
that performa?
Sorry.
How long you got?
I'm not telling you because I don't want to let anyone know.
I'm not. No. I just a minute.
It's in Australia.
Hours, 3 hours.
Some
it's in
minutes.
Australia. None of us.
Some minutes. Okay.
Some minutes. Okay. So I definitely think that is a really good candidate. That one there, in terms of Apple design fails. Another Apple design fail, which isn't necessarily a fail of their design, it's the omission of a design, and that is, of course, the removal of the MagSafe connector from laptops. And I think we would all have to agree that MagSafe was one of the most awesome things out there. I mean, when the thing just clips on there and starts charging. If you happen to step on the cable, it just pops out, doesn't drag the laptop onto the ground or anything like that. And it would go on either way. It was a really nice little bit of design. And to remove that, to then just replace it with a USB-C port, where if you step on the cable, you're going to bring the laptop with it. So that to me is what I consider, a design flaw, and that is where it's the omission of one of their really good designs. So what else have we got here? Is anyone else here got any ideas of poor design, Apple design, poor design? I can think of another one. The keyboard, the metal flat white keyboard, whatever they call those ones. I can't remember. There's a name for them.
The aluminum ones?
Yes, the more common ones. Yeah, the more modern ones. Sorry, the ones.
Aluminum.
Yeah. Aluminum. If there is anyone here who has ever taken a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or a glass of Coke or something into their office and then accidentally had a little bit of a spill onto that keyboard, it really only takes the slightest idea of a bit of water landing on those keyboards and you've absolutely stuffed them for life. They're gone. Just a quick shout out here to Dan. Yes, we did cover this one earlier on. So that was definitely that was right up there at the beginning. So
Magic Mouse 2, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a total non-issue. Anyone else got any design for? I mean, I think the Cube. Don has mentioned the Cube, and I think we have to say there again. I see it much like the trash can Mac. It's something which is iconic. I want to own one, but really,
I have one.
Oh no! The rumor is that you've got like 6 of them, Steve.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I understand what they were doing with the Cube, but people were still relying on, and I have to do a video about it because nobody has ever. They beat around the bush, but they never get to the point. people in those days wanted a dedicated PCI slot for SCSI or for whatever they need to do if they were professionals. And it was basically a Mac tower without the expansion. It's like, what the hell's the point? You know?
Yeah.
Might as well get a laptop.
Look, you see, Dan actually did a video on this once.
That's right, he did. He got close to it, but I'm just an idiot and I want to be particular.
Yeah. But yeah, so look, they're fun. But I think what it really comes down to is it's very easy to look at it now when we look at these things from a collectible perspective, because we're looking at spending what, 100 here or a couple hundred there, depending on the rarity of these items. When we're talking about buying these for the retail price they were going for at the time, and if you're now talking about spending thousands of dollars on these products, you can kind of understand why people might be, sort of being a bit, mean to them. So,
yeah, I think the other one that I would say, and I think it's the I'm trying to think of the exact generation. I think it's the 4th generation of the iPod Shuffle, where they've removed all the controls from it. Oh no, the 3rd gen, because they went backwards because it was so stupid. They made this 3rd gen iPod Shuffle that was supposed to be like all voice. Like it was like before Siri, it did like sort of the voice control type thing, and it would tell you next track, previous track, but there were no buttons on the stupid thing. So the only way you could control this if you were using the Apple headphones, and you had to double tap for next song, triple tap for previous song. There were no buttons. So I understand the Shuffle is, a minimalist player and it's just random and all that stuff. It shuffles. That's the whole damn name of the product. But to not have any buttons on the stupid thing, because they were trying to make it as small as possible, and they just reverted back the next cycle to the previous design, which was perfect.
I have one.
Yes, Dana. Please.
Nah. Well, So okay, this is a mixed bag because the monitors, the picture themselves, they were great monitors, but they are notorious for bad flyback transformers. And if you can find one working today, it ain't going to work for long. Secondly, the footprint of these things is massive.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing would take up, if you had just a normal, 48-inch desk or whatever, 48 inches deep, this thing takes up almost all of it. It's crazy.
And I can actually tell you another interesting thing with these. If you've got a standard monitor that might have, say, a flat base on it, and the corner of that flat base ends up hanging off the edge of the desk, your monitor's fairly safe. If you have this thing, and one of those legs,
that little foot slips off,
comes off the side of a desk, the whole thing's coming down. And I can tell you, that has happened to me. So we used to have these monitors in the where I used to work, and we had them. They were up high. They're up on this big desk up high, and I tell you, that was a little bit risky at times.
Yeah, Dan, that's the flyback.
Yeah. And that there's also another issue with the caps on one of the circuit boards inside of it. So if one doesn't go, it's the other. And I have one that it's beautiful. The display is perfect. But if it's on for a while, all of a sudden, it'll just turn itself off. So.
I feel bad putting this up here, too, because I've had like 3 or 4 of these over the years. I still have 2 downstairs. I have a gray one and a blue one. But I don't even turn them on. I'm afraid. I'm terrified.
They were also, I mean, look, they're very pretty and they fit with the design of all the other Macs.
Picture. I mean, it is a Sony Trinitron.
Yeah. And they were also obscenely heavy. Really bad.
My father had to build a desk for the 21-inch model that he got.
Build a house around it.
Yeah, no, he didn't mess around. But also the LCD prices at the time, you have to remember, were stupid expensive. And and Apple only had a 15-inch. So if you were a designer and you wanted color accuracy, you went with CRT. And so the 21-inch even had a color sync button on the left. That's how you can identify if it's a 21 or a 17-inch. And the 21-inch also had a USB hub in it. It was a beautiful monitor, and just the thing crapped out. And Apple had a very cat and mouse repair program with the 17-inch, and didn't even it really admit the problem for the 21-inch, which was a big issue for people who paid outright for it. So a beautiful monitor, heavy as all hell, and I still have the stand for mine somewhere. But the monitor's long gone.
Now, we should take this opportunity just to very quickly ask people to
smash that like button.
Thank you.
Smash it.
Now, there is also another one here in the comments which has been mentioned by Dan, Canadian Computer Collector, and that is Apple Maps. That's an interesting one. So, Dana, I feel like this is one you want to talk about.
Oh, I hate Apple Maps. I absolutely revile it. Because here's the reason. Google, they consolidate the data from feedback, people using their app. They use the data that they collect to make the app better, make the maps more complete, add different features. Apple, on the other hand, doesn't do that because it's kind of a good reason, because they value your privacy, that's fine. But if you want to make your maps, your what am I trying to say? The God, I just lost the freaking term for it. Satellite, positioning and all that stuff.
GPS.
God, I was thinking like ITS or something. Yeah, if you want to make something, that's based on GPS, fully featured, that has all of the options and the features and the traffic updates and things like that, you have to collect that data and you have to, consolidate it to a degree, but Apple's just not doing it. And every time I have used Apple Maps to go somewhere that I have never been, it gets me lost. And it was even across town. I had never been to this certain development that was across town from where I lived at the time, and it got me lost. It brought me into a development that was not even built yet. I was on a dirt road with a field that had just been plowed, and I was like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, I mean, one of the detractors of Google Maps is one of its greatest selling points, as you say, and that is the fact that they're all wired up together. And that immediate feedback on traffic situations is just a brilliant thing to have when you're sort of driving around. Now, I totally and of course they're sinking so much money into it, keeping it updated and all that sort of stuff. But but yeah, the downside to it is that we know that Google's not good on privacy. But that's the joys of maps. But yeah, I haven't used it. I mean, the very first couple of times I used it in the early days, it was so bad that I just never came back to it.
I think Maps is similar to Safari in that regard. Of like when they first came out, they were okay, but they obviously had problems, and I think it just sours a lot of people's taste. I still don't use Safari to this day. When Apple Maps came out, it was so spotty. A lot of people turned off to it. If it's by default and I accidentally use it and I know where I'm going roughly, I'll rely on it. But I'm not going to go out of my way to use Apple Maps. I'll use Waze or something that gives me traffic reports or something that there's so many providers out there. It's nice that Apple has one built into their OS and everything, but we don't have to use it.
Just in case anyone is interested, I missed out by $1 in the last 4 seconds.
Oh,
I blame Steve.
I didn't. My hands.
It is, but I sure pushed the price up at the last minute. I can tell you that for sure.
Nice.
Was it the Performa Director's Edition?
It was indeed. It was the. Here we go. Let me if I can just bring that up here very quickly. This is it here. See original listing. Where are you? There you are. There we go. So this is it here. How does one consume Vegemite? I'll tell you in a moment. So this is the. It's a Macintosh Performa 5400 180. It is the Director's Edition. I already have a black keyboard. I already have a black mouse. I actually already have a black one of these, but it doesn't have Director's Edition printed on it, and I would like to have the one that's Director's.
That's the Macromedia Director, right? Is that what it's insinuating?
I don't know.
How much does that sell for?
$72 Australian.
That's like $50 US.
Yeah.
I would have paid double that.
It's a bit of a steal.
It's got a missing speaker thingy on the side there. It is being sold in unknown condition. Thank you, David.
Hey, thanks, David. Awesome.
But yeah, I would have. I mean, it looks okay. I mean, at the back, where are we? There was a picture of the back here somewhere.
Show us the butt.
Yeah, there you go. So you've got the.
Yeah, there it is.
Make your screen big, Bruce.
Coax.
Come on, make your screen big.
Yeah,
we're a window within a window. Come on.
Click the embiggen button.
So anyhow, that's
it's got a modem installed in the card slot because there's a blanking plate over the modem port.
Yeah.
So anywho, I didn't get it. I'm not overly upset about it.
I am,
but I, look, I don't have a whole lot of money for spending on vintage Macs at the moment. If I did, I probably would have bid more. But you know what? If I'd have bid about 4 seconds later, I probably would have got it because they were bidding a bit and a bit and a bit and a bit and a bit, and then they finally got it.
Who knows how much they would have gone on that. So.
Anywho,
say la vie, because even the beige ones go for like 150 around here.
Now, just want to very quickly answer Dan from the Canadian Computer Collector. So I sent him a bag of goodies. Or sort of a box of goodies when I sent back his repaired Color Classic board. I sent him a few Australian treats, some food items. And one of the things I did send him was a small jar of Vegemite. And he has asked how to best eat it. Now, what I would say is, first of all,
buy the spoonful.
Make sure you're filming yourself when you do it. That's an absolute must. I don't want to miss the reaction at all. But the best thing to do is cook up some toast, get that toast nice and toasty, and then you spread on some butter, nice and liberal with the butter, I should say. Don't you skimp on that. Nice and liberal with the butter, and then a very, very sparing layer of Vegemite. Get it all mixed in with the butter.
Don't listen to him. Just take a spoonful and down it.
And then you hoe into that, and I'm telling you, you will be getting all of the salty goodness that we get down here, and you'll all of a sudden start talking the same as us and everything. So,
that's something that'll be in your next video, Dan. Come on.
Oh yeah,
good day, mate. Huh?
If there isn't a Vegemite eating reaction in the next video, I'll be very frustrated.
that's like the whole video. It's him just vomiting for 20 minutes.
But I also sent him some Tim Tams. I sent him
those you can just
I sent him a crunchy bar, which is like what we would call a chocolate bar, what you guys would call a candy bar. And I sent him a bag of burger rings. So that's a nice tasty snack, salty, savory snack. So yeah, a spoonful of Vegemite. Yeah, don't eat it by the spoonful. Really, don't. It's despite what anyone might say, don't eat it by the spoonful. It's disgusting. Okay, so back to Apple design flaws. So does anyone have any more? I mean, look, we've been going for over an hour now, so we can probably wrap things up if we want, unless anyone has any honorable mentions they would like to bring up.
The Geoport modem.
I mean, we probably have to mention things like the video connector of the 6100.
Yeah,
I think whatever that was.
Yes. Chunky board.
Yeah, because that was, I guess, and to some extent, I think even the ADC connector from later on. I sort of feel like when you're trying to create a standard, it only works if everyone follows along.
Yeah, nobody did.
Yeah, so you be in a situation where you've got this card that only works with one friggin' monitor.
You could almost argue that from a sales standpoint, the Lisa was not a good idea.
Same with
Yeah.
the Apple III.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going away.
I mean, they're so popular now, but it's because they weren't then.
Yeah. This is very true. I mean, what often is some of Apple's biggest mistakes. I mean, even we were talking about the portable before. What a design mess that was. I mean, who wants to be carting around a laptop with a sealed
12
lead acid
pounds.
battery in it, and a full size hard drive?
Steve does, but Steve's weird.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're a novelty. They're a novelty now because of how bad they were. You can look at them now and go, "Oh, how quaint!" Look at how big this is compared to a laptop today, and you can have a little bit of fun with it. But really, they weren't a big seller for Apple. So, all right. Well, look, unless anyone has got anything else to add, I think I'll probably wrap things up here. We'll just do a quick run around to see what people have coming up. Dana, anything happening that we should be aware of?
I got my. We were talking about this yesterday. I got my hole saw kit.
So does that mean
today.
you're going to have Ethernet?
It does. I mean, I've got Ethernet in half of this room, but the other half. So basically, I'm sitting right here is a wall, and it only comes out about halfway because there used to be a closet here where my servers are at. So the door is gone. The closet is now a room for servers. But instead of running the cables up and around this wall and then around the back of the room and all the way around that way, I'm going to drill a hole down there so that I have a little plastic conduit that all the cables will go through. It'll be nice and neat, and I won't be tripping on things, and I'm excited.
Yep, excellent.
And I'm not filming it.
Okay, so we'll just have to find out about that next time. How about you, Mike? Have you got stuff in the pipeline for us?
Well, I know Steve and I are supposed to do a stream on Saturday. You probably forgot.
Yes, I did. I have a haircut on Saturday.
You have what?
I have a haircut on Saturday.
Oh, yeah, that's going to take all day, isn't it?
I'm just telling you. We'll figure it out.
So,
And
Which hairs are they going to cut?
The back.
Oh,
yeah, I was going to say, I can cut that in about 30 seconds.
I got a freaking Doc Brown haircut going on in the back.
just take it all off and leave the beard. You'll look like a badass.
I fix computers.
Let's have another stream with Dave again from IBM Museum, except this time it's going to be Mac related.
okay, so this stream that's coming up on the weekend, that's a Mac related one? Is that what we're going to? Oh, wonderful. Okay, so
Mike's
It's going to be my Marcintosh contribution because it's probably not all we're going to get this year.
I keep forgetting. My apologies to all the Marcintosh people, the good Marcintosh people like Joe and Ron.
How dare you, Bruce?
Yeah, I keep doing my live stream and then like Joe or Ron pop in and go, Marcintosh. And they go, whoops, yeah, Marcintosh. Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, I have 2 videos that I haven't finished yet, and I better finish them before March because the end of March because they have Marcintosh in them.
Oh dear. Okay. Yes. Yeah. I mean, Marcintosh can go into April, surely a little bit.
Yes,
no
it did last year.
So, Steve, apart from you getting your haircut and streaming with Mike, what have we got to expect from you in the coming days, weeks, months?
I have a video of the PowerBooks that hopefully it was supposed to get done today, and that didn't happen. So probably by the
Today
weekend,
is not over.
Either the Blue Scuzzy video or the PowerBook video will hopefully be done. A friend of mine needs a PC built, and he has no idea how to do it, and so I'll probably be spending some of my Saturday doing that. I don't know. We'll see. Oh God, I need help. Please, Bruce, help.
I was going to live stream the recapping of a Macintosh 2 FX this weekend, but I realized the other day I have no caps left.
Bah.
I'll send you some boards, Bruce.
I have
No excuse.
one cap left. I have ordered them, and they will arrive, but they won't arrive until next week,
I
unfortunately.
mean, you're in Australia. Just go out in your yard and mine the lithium and the tantalum and all that good stuff.
I could raid them from another board or something like that, but I generally, it's not really the way I do things. So the 2FX recapping will probably have to wait. So this weekend I'll probably work on some pre-recorded videos. I've got another review coming up. It is a review of a modestly priced binocular optical microscope. So I have that in a box. I'm going to be sending that up and reviewing that coming up soon. I have high hopes for this one. I'm really hoping this is going to be a good one, but we'll see. The review will tell you one way or the other. But other than that, yeah, I might. I've still got some repairs here that don't require me to use capacitors, so I might get back in and do a live stream of some of the repairs. So that's about it for me. So thank you to everyone for joining. He's not going to talk. He's not going to talk. I tried to get him to talk and he wouldn't talk.
No.
So thank you everyone for watching. Just a reminder that we do have a Discord. Feel free to jump on and join. And we also also want to mention good old Tinker Different. Tinker Different board did a live stream just recently, last weekend, I think it was. And so if you haven't seen it, please check it out. What we did is we got together and we did a quick little tour. It wasn't quick at all. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes. We did a tour of some of the amazing projects that are on Tinker Different, and I cannot even begin to tell you how fantastic some of them are.
Hey, Ken. I see you got the YouTube notification right on time. As you.
Yes. I tell you what, rewind back and check it out, Ken. You'll love it. You'll love it.
No, check out the stream we did right before this one, which was all about 6 seconds long.
The 6 second one, yeah. The one where we just very quickly discuss what we're going to do for the show and then stop. Anyhow, yep, that's just me taking a very long time to wrap the show up. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Hope to see you in a fortnight's time. That's 2 weeks for people who don't understand that word. And we may even end up doing a back-to-back. We might end up doing one like next week as well, but we haven't decided on that, but we will let everyone know through our networking. So have a good evening, morning, day, whatever. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you for the lively chat. Everyone's contribution, we do appreciate it. And we will see you with the next one. So bye-bye.
Bye.